Hello everyone, and welcome back to Audrey Pathefiner. Today we're on location at Zalik Academy, where I will be interviewing Miss Malik, co-founder of the school. My first impression here is, it looks so fun, and some students here are decorating right now. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm excited to learn more about microschools, entrepreneurship, and what it is like to build and run your own school. Let's get started.
I just want to say one thing to you. I started when I was your age, okay? My dad told me that, Isa, the greatest thing that you can do in this world as a young girl is find your voice. And so my dad got me into opportunities like what you're doing right now. And it led into one of the greatest opportunities today, which is, the foundation of this school. But it also taught me so many lessons that are so valuable that I use as a teacher. And when I was 4 years old, I started getting public speaking opportunities. I started speaking on stages. I started going around the world and talking. So my point is, buddy, that you don't know where this opportunity is going to take you and your mom and your sister, and you're going to inspire so many girls around the world. Like when your mom shared this opportunity on Facebook, I was like, yes, girl power. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm so proud and I'm so honored to have this opportunity. So go ahead, buddy. What's your first question for me?
Question 1. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Thank you so much, buddy. So to begin with, my name is Isa Malik, and I'm the co-founder and president of Zalik Academy. I'm a teacher, I'm an early childhood educator, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a partner with my husband in Popeye's Louisiana kitchen. I'm a real estate investor, not only locally but internationally, and I do a lot of cool projects for the community. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. It's been about 10 years, and sometimes when I say 10 years, I can't believe it, because 10 years as a teacher, 10 years in business, and now I own my own school, which is amazing. We offer microschooling, sports, entrepreneurship programs for kids just like you, not only here in Scarborough, but around the world, which is amazing. And a little bit about what I do is, again, as a teacher, I teach, but I empower children and families like yourself with confidence, creating opportunities, and helping children discover their potential. Because every teacher knows, and every student as well, that walks through our doors is that they become part of our extended family, and it's a privilege to be part of their journey.
Question 2. What inspired you to start Zalik Academy?
Perfect. So what inspired me was, just like you as a little girl, I loved education. I lived with my grandmothers, both my dad's mom and my mom's mom, and growing up they would always share stories of how they never had a school back home. My grandparents never got a chance to go to school, and my dad would always share with me that his school used to be under a tree. So anytime that it would rain, he never had to go to school. And he was always telling me how, if I could, I would take every opportunity I can here in Canada to embrace education. So growing up, I was like, I want to build a school for my family. I want to be a teacher. And one of the greatest professions in my community that was recognizable was a teacher. And for me, I love talking. I love community. I love people. And I love just being part of day-to-day operations of just empowering people, right? So for me, I was like, at the age of 4, I'm going to be a teacher, and I love dramatic play. Do you like dramatic play? What do you like to pretend to be?
A cat.
A cat. Okay, so there's cats. My cousin used to love being a dog. He used to be a puppy. And so for my sisters and my cousins and I, whenever we'd have play dates, I would always be the teacher. And you know what I would do? I would take a piece of paper and I would imitate and copy my kindergarten teacher. And I would put name over here. I put the date and be like, okay, you know what? Today's lesson is math. So I write like 10 questions. And if they didn't fill it out, they weren't allowed to go home. So it was like so funny now that I think back to it. Even I became a teacher very young. Like when my grandfather passed away, I got all my cousins to sit in a circle and be like, let's talk about our feelings. And I didn't know that's something called a community circle until I went to teachers college. So the point is, what inspired me is my community, is my people. My parents came from little to nothing when they came to Canada, and I hear their stories of resilience, and I always knew I wanted to give back to the community. So that's how I started Zalik Academy.
Wow. Question 3. What is a microschool and how is it different from a traditional school?
That's an amazing question. You know, microschools are not heard of. Have you heard of a microschool before? No, right? A lot of people, and even Miss Malik, I learned what a microschool was literally like a couple years back during COVID-19, and it's the revolution that started in the United States of America. So a lot of parents, they came together, researchers, teachers, and they noticed that, you know what, school is a little too long for kiddos. You're a homeschooler as well, right? So you know what, they noticed that, you know, homeschooling is the way to go, because not only does it teach you real life skills, you're out there, look at you interviewing Miss Malik right now, and you're learning so much more than you would in school right now, right? You're learning communication, you're learning writing, you're learning literacy. So that's what the purpose of homeschooling was. A lot of parents were like, you know what, let's take homeschooling, smaller class sizes, shorter duration, and let's put it together and, you know, and adapt to every child's unique needs. And that is what homeschooling is all about, and microschooling.
Question 4. What does a typical day look like for you?
So ever since I started this journey, no day has been the same. My mornings often begin with teaching and supporting students in our microschool, and throughout the day I'm meeting with families, planning lessons, coordinating programs, mentoring staff, responding to emails, working with community partners, and planning future initiatives. And then the evenings are spent with tutoring, preparing resources, and working on the business behind the scenes. And then along with that, meeting amazing kiddos like you and doing interviews like this.
How did you decide to name it Zalik Academy?
You know, I get this question asked so often, and I'm honored that you're asking me this. So the name Zalik actually comes from Zahur, which is my last name, after my father, and Malik, which is Mr. Malik, my husband, who you're going to interview very soon as well at Popeyes. So it's his last name as well. It's Zahur and Malik. And when we were getting married at the age of 21, we were young kids. Our parents were like, what should be our wedding hashtag? What do these two families symbolize? And you know what's really, really cool? There's so much history behind the name in itself. So Zahur and Malik are two families that have known each other long before Mr. Malik and I were even born. So our uncles turned out to be roommates together when they first came to Scarborough. Our dads were youth coordinators serving the community together. And Mr. Malik and I were in our mommy's tummy. So it's just so cool how the world works and the circle of life. So when we were getting married, we're all sitting there, we're like, what should be the wedding hashtag? My sister said a pizza Mo's cake, a Mo's heart, a pizza Mo's heart, because my name is Isa, so she put, and my husband's name is Mohammed. So that was a hashtag that we were thinking about. But then my father-in-law said, why not Zalik? The whole purpose of these two families coming together, it's the beauty of it, right? And then that became our wedding hashtag, Zalik 2018. And then when we got married, he's a coach, I'm a teacher, we love serving the community. And during COVID, people came up to us and said, we need help, we don't know how to support our kids. And then we thought, okay, why not turn this into a business? And then people said, what's going to be the name of your business? We said, what makes more sense? Zalik Academy. And one last story, buddy, is that people started coming up to us and said, you know what Zalik means? I said, what does it mean? They said, Zalik means warrior in my language. And I was like, as a teacher, I teach my kids every day that when you wake up and you go to school and you encounter the hardest times of your life, you are a warrior. So it kind of aligned with that, and that's what Zalik Warriors means. And in another language, it means that. So when a dad came up to me and said, you're going to be known as That Academy. So I was like, there's so many meanings behind our name in itself. And Mr. Malik and I joke around that when we have our first kid, we might end up naming it Zalik. So you know what I mean? It's just, there's so much beauty to that name. Thank you for asking me that question, buddy.
Question 7. What education, training, or experience did you need to become a microschool owner and entrepreneur?
So Miss Malik actually completed my bachelor's in early childhood studies at Ryerson. Well, it was Ryerson at the time, now it's known as Toronto Metropolitan. And I completed my master's of teaching from OIZ, Ontario Institute of Studies of Education. And some of my greatest lessons, buddy, didn't just come from my education. It came from my experience and my passion for learning and teaching and meeting amazing kiddos like you. I've worked in schools like private, public, tutoring centers, community organizations from as young as the age of your age. How old are you?
6.
Exactly. So when I was 6 years old, I was volunteering anywhere and everywhere I could get my hands on with my dad. My dad was like, you know what, Isa, let's go work at political office. Let's go work at the community center. Let's go, work at the swimming pool area. Let's go do anything and every experience that we can get. And that's what me and my dad did. And then I also learned that from those experiences, leadership, finance, marketing, partnerships, communication, and problem-solving skills as well. And the experience that I learned to become a microschool owner was that learning never stops. Even though I'm 29 now, I am still learning each and every day. Even from this experience in itself, I'm learning confidence from you right now. So every day brings a new opportunity to grow, and I think that's the greatest thing that it takes to be a microschool owner.
Question 8. What do you enjoy most about running a microschool?
Without question, Betty, it's the relationships. When I first started this journey, it was so hard. I had people that questioned me. I had people that judged me. I had people that didn't even know what I was doing. They said, what is this teacher doing that's leaving the system and saying the system is not for her? I knocked on doors, every single door that I could, and oftentimes people said, Miss Malik, you don't know what you're talking about. Miss Malik, this system is amazing. Miss Malik, children with special needs don't need extra support. What are you talking about? But in the span of when I started this journey, I didn't realize the amount of people that I was inspiring. I had a mother at the door the other day with her 3 children that said, Miss Malik, I'm watching your journey on Instagram and you have inspired me to do more, to be a better mother, to be a better coach, to be a better mentor. So can you please guide me? So I didn't realize, Betty, that through my struggle, through my journey, I'm inspiring so many people, not only here in Scarborough, but around the world. I have mothers messaging me from Nigeria, from Jamaica, from, different parts of the world that I never even knew of. So I think the greatest journey is inspiring people, seeing students gain confidence, overcome challenges, seeing children speak their first words, seeing children say Zalik Academy is their favorite school and it's one of the greatest places they'd rather be. One kid actually said this place is like Wonderland for them. So I was like, that itself is the greatest win for me. And I think there's no other greater joy than that.
Question 9. What are some of the biggest challenges you face?
That's an amazing question, Betty. And I often, always talk about the success. I think a lot of business owners do, but we don't highlight what it takes to get there, right? And I know from the outside, and people see our Instagram, but people see Zalik Academy, they see, where it is today, but they don't know what it took to get there, right? And I think as a teacher, I frankly didn't know myself either until I became a business owner. I was married to an entrepreneur, Mr. Malik, and he started from the age of 14, and he built his Popeyes, he built his brand, and, as a franchisee, and he would always say, there's numbers, there's risk, there's this, but I didn't understand until I started it myself. So essentially what I'm saying is there's late nights, there's financial risks, there's uncertainty, there's sacrifices that come with entrepreneurship, and running a small business requires resilience and constant problem solving, especially when you're working with kids. There's never a dull moment, right? And there's going to be moments where you question yourself, and then there's a student or a child that accomplishes something that they never thought they possibly could, or a parent shares how much you've impacted their life, and it reminds you exactly why you started. So essentially, I think every challenge becomes another opportunity to learn and grow.
Question 10. What surprised you most about starting and running your own school?
So I was surprised by so much when I started. First of all, I was surprised by how much happens outside of teaching. People see the classroom, behind the scenes. There are meetings, finances, hiring, planning, partnerships, marketing, and countless decisions every single day that I have been doing as a one-woman team, right? But slowly and surely, by the grace of God, I've been expanding, and now I have my part-time employees, which is a huge success for my small business. I also learned that no one builds something meaningful alone, which is exactly what I just shared. Behind every small business is a village of supporters, mentors, families, and community members who believe in your vision and help make it possible. I would not be where I am today without amazing people that believe in my vision. I had no idea when I started that I would get such great sponsorships and partners such as Embers Access Foundation, an amazing charity that supports children with autism and different learning needs. I have Audrey Academy. I got sponsored by Foot Locker. They gave me gift cards and said, hey, Miss Malik, here you go. Rubicon, a brand that I used to drink growing up when I was your age, sponsors Zalik Academy, and even Dimitri's. So if you like ice cream, Dimitri's became one of my sponsors as well. So you just never know where this path can take you. And I think that's been one of the greatest surprises of Zalik Academy in this journey.
Question 11. What advice would you give to students who might be interested in becoming teachers or starting their own business one day?
So my greatest advice, and I love this question, and oftentimes teachers ask me, how can I do this? What can I do? And I think it's passion. One of my students recently called me the LeBron James of teaching. And I was just sitting there and I'm like, what? I'm the greatest of all time for teaching? And these titles are some titles I don't take for granted. You have to love what you do, especially when you're working with students, especially when you're working with families. As a teacher, you hold one of the greatest titles and responsibilities. You are working with the most vulnerable. You have to remember that. I work with domestic violence survivors. I work with children going through cancer. I work with so many children that are going through the toughest times of their lives through this small business venture. And every single day I wake up with a purpose to serve better, become a better leader, and to be able to do justice to those parents that believe in me, right? So I think my greatest advice would be, don't be afraid to start before everything feels perfect. Stay curious, work hard, ask questions, and most importantly, never stop learning. I'm learning every second I can, and I'm hungry. You have to be hungry to learn too, right? And don't compare your chapter to someone else's chapter. You're in a different place at a different time. And the people who make the biggest difference aren't always the smartest. They're often the ones who keep showing up, stay resilient, and genuinely care about serving others. And most importantly, girl to girl, dream big. Because girl power can lead you to places around the world that you would never know. Recently, last year, I was called as a guest speaker to Silicon Valley, the Valley of Dreams. And I couldn't imagine a young girl born in Scarborough coming from little to nothing, from an immigrant family. My parents came here escaping persecution in flight or fight mode. They didn't even know that their daughter could ever make it to where she is today. You don't have that hope. Many girls in my community, they think for them the greatest dream is to get married and become a mother, and that's all they know. But there's a whole world outside of motherhood and womanhood, right? And I think that's what my journey is. And keep working hard, dream big, because you'll never know where you end up. Especially you, buddy.
Question 12. What is the thing you wish more people knew about microschools?
That's a beautiful question. Microschools aren't simply smaller classrooms. They're communities. They're families. They allow educators to truly know each child, personalize learning, and work closely with families to create an environment where students can thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. Every child, just like yourself, deserves to feel seen, heard, and believed in. And that's what makes this model so special.
Question 13. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of career advice, what would it be?
Miss Malik is actually turning 30 this year, and life has flown by so fast. Since I was your age to now, I look back and sometimes I have those flashback moments, and I'm like, if I could tell younger Isa anything, I would say that believe in myself sooner. There were many moments where I questioned whether I was good enough, experienced enough, or ready enough. I've been bullied majority of my childhood for the way I looked, for the way I was, and I wish I said, Isa, you are perfect. You are amazing. And I think I give it to my mom and dad for building that confidence in me as well. And just like your mom is here sitting behind you, your greatest champion, praying for your success, that was my parents. Behind every time where I felt like I was low, my dad would say, Isa, you're beautiful. Isa, you're beautiful. Don't worry about what the world is saying. So love your parents, keep them in your prayers, and everything you do, just remember your parents. That's advice someone has told me when I was younger. And whatever I have achieved today has been not only by the blessings of God, but through the love of my parents, which has brought me to where I am. So have faith, work hard, stay humble, and don't let fear make your decisions. Keep serving others, keep learning, and trust every challenge is preparing you for something greater. At the end of the day, one thing I realize is I meet people that are at the top. You can say that they're successful because they are millionaires. They have so much money. But to me as a teacher, I don't think that's what success is. I think success is not just building by numbers. It's measured by how many lives you impact and you change every single day, the communities you strengthen, and the opportunities you create for others. That's what Zalik Academy means to me. That's what doing this interview means to me. And that's a legacy that I hope to continue building every single day. And a huge thank you. It has been a greatest honor to be interviewed by you, buddy. I've been interviewed so many times in my life, whether it was through CP24, through Omni, and Listen, none of the reporters got what you got. You have an amazing spark to yourself. Keep on doing what you do, and I can't wait to see where you're going to go with this opportunity.
Thank you. Now it's time for the official Pathfinder career rating. Here's how I rate the career of Microschool founder and entrepreneur across 3 categories. Preparation level. How much training, learning, and practice you need for this career? I give it a 3.5 gold star rating. Impact rating. How much this career helps build communities or make a difference. I give it a 5 out of 5 gold star rating. Because she's teaching the children of the future and making a positive impact on her community. The Audrey Fit. How much I would personally enjoy this career. I give it a 4.9 gold star rating. Because I also want to do different stuff, but it's also very exciting. That wraps up today's episode of Audrey Pathefiner. A huge thank you to Miss Malik for sharing her experience and teaching us more about microschools, education, and entrepreneurship. And thank you to all the kids and families listening. Before you go, if you love stories as much as you love learning about careers, you should definitely head over to my sister Olivia's podcast, Olivia's Book Nook. She reviews the best books for kids and shares her own big ideas about the world. It's the perfect place to find your next great read. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep building your own path. See you next time!